Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure,
a podcast where we'll talk about all things Disney,
including tips and tricks, festivals and favorites, and the very latest in news and reviews.
But we're still old enough to remember when you could sing along with tomorrow's child.
This is episode 20, the top 7 attraction songs at Walt Disney World.
Or, la 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 la.
Oh, anything but that song.
Will not be making the list.
So now, please remain seated, keeping your hands, arms, feet, and legs inside the podcast as we embark on our Epcotian adventure. Howdy, folks, and welcome to episode 20 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And today we're going to be talking about our top 7 favorite attraction songs at Walt Disney World.
Yes. So
now,
this is going to be songs from rides or from Disney shows. That would be like audio animatronic shows, not like Festival of the Lion King. We're not including live shows.
Right. So shows like Carousel of Progress would be included. So those are considered attractions versus shows. So that's kind of our cutoff on that today.
And we're not including nighttime spectaculars because how in the world can you possibly rate Happily Ever After against Fantasmic?
Oh, and
Wishes.
Oh, my heavens, yes.
So we're not including parade music. We're not including nighttime spectaculars.
Because Baroque Hoedown, I'm sorry. The Electric Parade would be at the top.
Oh, no, it would not.
Happily Ever After?
No, Tapestry of Nations.
Oh,
Hello.
Tapestry of Nations. Oh, and the parade music from Epcot.
Right, and Illuminations.
Yeah. Okay.
So those are
Tapestry
those are
of
ones
Nations
we will not be.
Yeah.
Right. We will not be covering those.
And we have not told each other what our top 7 are. So you're probably, again, going to hear some overlap here.
Oh, definitely.
But, you know, that goes without saying. We grew up together going to Disney, so a lot of the same memories that I have, Sue has as well. So we're going to have some emotional connection to some of these songs.
For sure. And a lot of this is going to be nostalgia-driven, as always, because how else do you pick a favorite but what hits you? So
exactly.
That's how it works.
What hits us in the feels.
Yeah, there we go.
All right. Well,
but
Sue? Oh, yes. No, go ahead.
I also do want to mention before we start that, yes, you did hear correctly. This is a top 7 list. And once again, that would be because of my inability to make a proper list.
Sue told me, let's do the top 5. I'm like, okay, let me start on the list. Okay, done.
Yeah, that was so unfair. Because I started my list and suddenly I had 15 things and no possible way to narrow them down. I
just go into my boy brain, pull the box off the shelf that has Disney music, and it's already in order. So,
well, if mine were in order, it would be alphabetical, and that would not help us at all. So, all right. So we're just going to jump on in. These are from all 4 Walt Disney World parks. We're not including Disneyland, because some of them, even if it's the same ride, some of them are different.
What we're talking about today is Disney World based. And Sue, why don't you start with your number 7?
My number 7. All right. My number 7 is one of the newer songs. And this is from a current attraction found at Hollywood Studios. The song is Nothing Can Stop Us Now.
Oh,
and it's from Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
I love that song.
I actually have it on my phone. It's only like a couple seconds long, and I still just play it over and over again. I absolutely love it. My favorite part of the song is in the attraction. And it's in the opening scene when the sun is singing the bass part. It absolutely cracks me up. If you've been on the ride and you haven't noticed the sun in that first scene, do yourself a favor and watch him sing that bass part because it is hysterical. It's adorable.
My favorite part is when they're in the car and they think everything is peachy keen.
I do love that.
I love that.
Oh, I love it.
Oh, my. All right, well, my number 7... This is going back a long time. Another Part of Me from Captain EO by Michael Jackson.
Okay, I did not see that coming.
That opened in 86 at Epcot. It opened at Disneyland also in 86. And I was actually at the opening with my older brother and sister at Epcot for that one.
Not me.
Yeah. Oh, I think you were still kind of young back then. Yeah, you were very young back then, actually.
I was, yeah.
And it opened at Tokyo Disneyland in 87 and Disneyland Paris in 92. And was actually released on his album Bad in 1987 as a single.
Nice.
I don't think it charted very well, but Disney enthusiasts loved it, of course. I was being one of those people. I actually bought the cassette of Bad just because that song was on it.
Now, kids, a cassette is what we used to play music on. Is
Before
the little
CDs.
square device.
No, CDs? CDs were something we used to play music on in the car. Yeah, we're getting old, aren't we? Yeah, there's something about the music from Captain EO that was in the queue, but Another Part of Me was one of those songs I just came out humming that first day, and to this day, it's still one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, but it's also one of my favorite attraction songs.
That was a definite wild card. That was a great answer. I had totally forgotten about that.
Oh, thank you.
Very nice.
All right.
So my number 6 is, again, it's a little bit of a different one. Not one of your normal things that you think of as a Disney song, although you will. And I went with Pianjo.
Oh, yes, from
Country Bear Jamboree.
Bear Jamboree. Give me a little intro there, Gomer.
Oh, it's so good. This is the song that Gomer plays at the beginning of the show as Henry's introducing. You don't actually hear a ton of it. I actually found the song on YouTube that I could listen to, and it's not the same if you don't have the little jar of bees buzzing at the intro part. But it's so good.
That was from the original show from 71 at Magic Kingdom and 72 at Disneyland. To this day, that music gets stuck in my head all the time. I—that's a great answer.
Yeah, it's not an attraction that I ever worked, of course, but
I did.
I know, but
Everybody
it's one
drink.
of those.
That's a drinking game. When Rod says he worked at the parks,
you gotta take a drink.
gotta take a drink.
But it's just one of those songs that just makes me smile every time I hear it. I want to tap my toes. I want to sing along, even though there's no words. I can make up words. I can do that. But it's just so fun.
Well, my number 6, believe it or not, is not even going to leave the building. My number 6 is the Bear Band Serenade from the Country Bear Jamboree, written by George Bruns and Exitencio, believe it or not.
I did learn that the other day.
I just learned that in looking this back up. Now, this is something I probably knew way back when because I was a lead on that attraction, so I had all of the documents for it. I had forgotten that X had actually written that, or Xavier had written the lyrics for that song.
Which is so cool. And if you don't know which one that is the one where the 5 bear rugs introduce themselves.
Yeah, first there's Zeke and Zeb and Ted and Fred and a bear named Tennessee and Little Oscar, and I forgot the song. It's been a while, but it was the opening song that Henry would sing along almost out of Pianjo, where that kind of ended and went right into that. And it's simply called Bear Band Serenade. And to this day, the attraction at Magic Kingdom is referred to as Bear Band by most of the cast members.
I love that. That's a great one. All right, so number 5 then. I am going to do my number 5. I'm going to stay in the Magic Kingdom.
Okay.
Believe it or not. So I'm going to go over to Tomorrowland, and I'm going to choose Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow.
Oh, very nice. The Sherman Brothers.
Yes.
That is a classic.
It is, and that was I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe that was the original song. And then they replaced it when they moved it to Disney World with Now Is the Time, the Best Time of Your Life.
Which was okay.
It was fine.
It was just part of a modernization they tried to do with the attraction, and I can understand that. But luckily...
It didn't sit well with the fans. So Disney actually did listen, and they changed the song back to the original, which was There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow. Now, we have heard a rumor. I don't know if this was true because we don't know the intent of the song being written, but I have heard that the song was written about Walt and about his dreams for the future, and that if you replace the word with Walt, you can do it. So There's a Great Big Beautiful Tomorrow, shining at the end of every day. Walt had a dream, and that's a start. He followed his dreams
with mind
and heart.
It makes sense.
Which is it's a cool idea. Even if it's not 100% true, I want to believe it's true because it's a really cool idea.
My number 5 is back at Epcot because this is the Epcotian Adventure, so we have to have some Epcot music. This goes back to the original 1982 Universe of Energy. The song was actually called the Universe of Energy. It was written by Joel Hirshhorn and Al Kasha. Played from the opening in 1982 in the ending sequence, the finale of the attraction. It was a 2-minute computer-animated film that it played along with that reflected off mirrored walls in the theater. And it was replaced by Ellen's Energy Adventure in 96. But that song I'll just hum it every once in a while. The Universe of Energy. Anyway, it's one of those ones that when I think of vintage Epcot, That one and Living with the Land and Tomorrow's Child and the original music and Making Memories, the ones that were in the original attractions are the ones that still have that hit me in the feels moment for Epcot. And so of those songs, I just chose one of the originals, and that was the one that I still really to this day love.
And you can also hear part of it currently in the beginning of Guardians of the Galaxy, Cosmic Rewind, which sits on the place where the original Universe of Energy attraction was. And when you first see the Guardians ship, they are listening to like sort of a rocked out version.
A rock version of it. And that's part of why I chose this song too.
Such a good reason.
It still has a presence within the park.
Which again, it flies by, so it's one of those things where you have to catch it. If you know, and if you don't, it just moves on by. But it's pretty cool when you catch it. So my top 4 are very fluid because at any given moment, any one of these could be my favorite.
Oh, wow.
So It depends on what ride I'm on at the time. My number 4 is at Epcot.
Okay.
It's a bit of a mystery. And I've actually done research on this. I cannot find a title for this song. I can't find a composer for this song.
Ooh, I'm intrigued.
It exists somewhere. You may even know. Maybe it's on your list.
Oh, let's find out.
But I've searched. I can't find anything. So my number 4 spot is at Livin' with the Land.
Okay.
From the screen sequence where you go through and they show all the screens. There's a voiceover of a woman telling you about farming techniques. And there's a guitar song that plays underneath it that absolutely, it lowers my blood pressure. It makes me smile. It is just the quintessential song for that moment in that ride, and I love it.
There's something about the sound of the water going by and the moment that you're in, and you've just come out of the farm sequence, which is one of my favorite scenes of any attraction at any Disney park. I'm right there with you. That is such a great scene. I've actually tried to find the author or composer of that music.
Me too.
And I have not been able to find it. Now, if you know, just put it in the comments. We'd love to know.
I would really love to know. Or if anyone has that little Shazam thingy. I don't have that on my phone. Maybe I just need to download it and try it for that next time we go through that tunnel. But I absolutely love that music. So that is taking my number 4 spot.
My number 4, get ready to drink. This comes from an attraction that I worked.
Drink.
Yeah, all right, fine. Grim Grinning Ghosts, otherwise known as the Screaming Song, written by Buddy Baker and Exitensio.
That's your number 4?
That's my number 4.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, I've got some surprises for you.
Yeah,
well, I have
a
surprise for you, I think. But yeah, it opened at Disneyland in 69 first, and then in 71 at Magic Kingdom, 83 at Tokyo, 92 at Disneyland Paris. It's the song that plays throughout the entire attraction, so you obviously know what I'm talking about if you're at all familiar with the Haunted Mansion. It was sung by the Mellow Men. It included Thurl Ravenscroft, major voices for the attractions back then. It's even been covered by the Bare Naked Ladies and the Friendly Indians, which is a group that actually was a group of Disney cast members led by Steve Franks, the creator of the show Psych. So, yeah, we've got some pretty talented people that came out of the west side of Disney. But yeah, number 4 is Grim Grinning Ghosts. Now, of the other ones that are coming up, this was, again, one, like you said, that was fluid. This one moved up and down in the list quite a bit. And was number 3 for quite a while until I found the number 3 that I have.
Oh, I'm so curious.
So let's move on.
I can't believe you have 3 songs that beat that.
Well, let's see. What's your number 3?
All right. My number 3 is, if we're at Magic Kingdom, we're not too far away from yours.
Well, good.
So we're just going to skip over into Adventureland. And my number 3 is Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me.
The third song on our list, written by Exitensio.
Yes.
Isn't that amazing?
He's amazing. So Exitensio, yes, did this one. This was one of those classic Disney songs. You cannot be at Disney and not have this song go through your head at some point.
And it's old enough, too, that even if you're a Disney adult, you grew up with this song.
Oh, absolutely. And I loved that they used it in the movies. I love how they used it in the movies. I love that the last line of the first movie is Johnny saying, really bad eggs.
I love that.
I mean,
my gosh.
How classic is that? So, yeah, it's one of those, it's goofy, it's weird, it's talking about pirates taking over a village and plundering and stealing women, but it's somehow endearing. I don't know.
Weird. And again, if you hear the song, you can smell the smell.
Oh, the smell. The water Disney smell.
Yeah, it opened in 67 in Disneyland and opened in 73. Actually, it was not one of the opening attractions at Magic Kingdom. A lot of people don't realize that.
Yeah, Walt didn't want it to be at Magic Kingdom because he wanted unique attractions at both parks, and people had a fit.
They came unglued.
That they did not get their own Pirates ride.
So it opened in 73, and then 83 in Tokyo, 92 at Disneyland Paris, and 2016 in Shanghai, which Andy worked on.
Yes. Which, if you've heard our interview with him, you have heard him talk about.
All right, my number 3. This one's going to be a wild card. This one actually came out of nowhere just the other day, and I'm going to struggle with the pronunciation. It's Hapu Duiani by African Dawn from Kilimanjaro Safaris at Disney Animal Kingdom. It is Swahili for here on Earth, and believe it or not, it's the Lord's Prayer.
No way!
Swahili. I had no idea. I knew I loved that song, and it's one of those songs that when I hear, it makes me emotional, and I could never figure out why. Well, now I know.
That is so cool.
But it was the music in the background for the attraction for years, and it was what you would hear when you went out onto the African veldt. But the music has just been haunting me for years. I just love it. It had that woo woo woo.
Yes.
Woo 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 woo.
As soon as you said it, I knew exactly the music you were talking about.
Love that music. And when I originally put together my top 5, it was not in the list. It was something that hit me when I was sitting at work one day thinking of this list again, and I had to immediately pop it in. But it only hit number 3 on the chart.
That is such a good one. I didn't even consider that one. That probably would have made my list as well. I don't know what I would have replaced because I love all 7 of mine. But...
Well, I was going to say, so much of our 7 that we have together really are shared.
Yes,
with
for
the
sure.
responses, so yeah.
But, oh man, that's a really good one. Well done. All right, number 2. Number 2, I went modern again.
Okay.
So my number 2 spot goes to Soarin'.
Oh, great. Yeah, that music is so iconic. And surprisingly, it did not make my top 7.
I am surprised by that.
I love the music. I absolutely love that music.
So, yeah, I chose it because it, again, like the land music, it lowers my blood pressure. I know that sounds weird, but it's like this instant calming effect. I've actually used it to help myself relax in the doctor's office. So it actually does work. And there was a rough time we were going through with our family a couple years ago, and when I needed just a break, I would put on the music on my phone. I would take my dog out for a walk and just take a break. And that music is what helped me get through some of those rough moments. So for me, it's nostalgia and personal, but it was effective because of how gorgeous that music is.
That is so amazing. My number 2, Yo-Ho, A Pirate's Life for Me, which you've already talked about.
A great choice.
Guarantee you our number 1 is going to be the exact same song.
No, it's not.
You don't think so?
I am 100% certain it's not.
Okay, well, let's see. What's your number 1?
My number 1, because now I'm realizing what yours is, and it's not on my list. That's funny. Okay, so now I know what your number 1 is, because it probably should have been on my list. It absolutely should have been on my list, because I sing it all the time. Yeah. Okay, my number 1, we've already covered, so this is going to be quick. My number 1 is Grim Grinning Ghosts.
Oh, okay.
I love that song. I don't like scary things. I don't like things that have jump scares. I don't like things that are creepy or gory.
What
I
about
love
Cockagorry?
Haunted Mansion.
Is that,
I do like Cockagorry.
Cockagorry, yeah.
Yes, that's lovely. But I love Haunted Mansion, and this song is what makes me love Haunted Mansion. Okay, so here's the story. There are 2 Imagineers who were mostly in charge of designing the interior storyline for Haunted Mansion. Claude Coates wanted it to be super scary and frightening, have the jump scares. Mark Davis wanted it to be funny and whimsical. So they combined the 2 ideas. Claude Coates got the beginning of the ride, and then Mark Davis got the end of the ride, and it's that end of the ride that I'm talking about. And that's where that music comes in. So the whimsical and fun part is what wins me over, because if it was all the creepy and all the seance and the Madame Leota and the candlestick at the end of the hall, I would not enjoy that ride at all. But that graveyard scene with that classic music wins me over. So that took my number 1 spot.
Oh, it's a great one. My number one...
And now I'm kicking myself because I just realized yours is not on my list.
My number one is also by the Sherman Brothers.
Of course.
It is from Epcot, and it's One Little Spark.
Oh my gosh.
Written by Richard and Robert Sherman for Journey into Imagination at Epcot in 1982, and it is my favorite Disney song of all time. I have a very, very soft spot in my heart for the original attraction, and you've heard us talk about that, where the new version of the attraction, and it still has One Little Spark, but it's not the same without Dreamfinder. So the original music, the original version, Billy Barty doing Figment, and Dreamfinder doing Dreamfinder.
As himself.
But the original version of that song, to this day, is still my favorite piece of Disney music of all time.
Now, the actual music still exists in the ride. That catchy little tune where he sings One Little Spark is still in the ride. But the original had, you opened with the Dreamfinder, and he was riding his little Dreammobile thing that was like part bicycle and part hype, what do you call it? Zeppelin.
Yeah, it was...
But he created Figment.
Yeah.
The song creates Figment.
Yeah.
And it's so wonderful, and it's the
quintessential Epcot song.
Yes.
But it's the perfect, since it's Sherman Brothers too, the perfect Disney song.
Absolutely. I can't believe that wasn't on my list.
We also have some honorable mentions.
Yes, we do.
And how many do you have? I have 3.
I have 1, 2, 3.
Okay, perfect.
4.
Well,
Sorry,
let's
5.
go ahead and just go back and forth again. What's your first honorable mention?
My first honorable mention is Making Memories.
Oh, good. From World of Motion.
Yes.
Also a great song. Gary Owens did the voice over for the attraction. But the song is in many different forms throughout that attraction. And that actually was in my top list for a while before it kind of got pushed out by some of these others.
I love that. And it's one that we still sing to this day.
Yeah, love it.
The whole idea of, well, it was sponsored by Kodak.
Yeah.
So the whole idea of taking pictures is making memories. I mean, it's a Disney code to live by.
It really
And
is.
a catchy tune.
My first one is going to be the complete antithesis of that, and that's Sweet Emotion by Aerosmith from Rock and Roller Coaster.
Oh, my word.
I love
What?
Sweet Emotion on that attraction. But yeah, that song, for some reason, on that attraction just makes me giggle every time. It's the perfect Sweet Emotion as they go into that lyric and into that first and second inversion is perfectly timed. And it's an honorable mention for me.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Because it's not necessarily the song, it's how it's used in the attraction.
Exactly.
I like that. My next one is going to be Nowhere in Particular.
Oh, very nice. From Mr. Toad's Wild
From
Ride.
Mr. Toad's Wild Ride, which is not there.
Gone now. That's now where Pooh is.
But it's still at
Magic Kingdom.
Disneyland if
It
you
is.
want to give it a listen. But yes, Mr. Toad's Hall was taken over by the 100 Acre Wood.
Yeah.
So it is no longer
Pooh-
there. But it's a fun little song.
Pooh is quite the robber baron, too. He also got the Country Bears at Disneyland, so. Who knew?
He's winning Monopoly for sure.
My next one also goes out of the genre a little bit and is the Imperial March from Star Wars, which is used on Star Tours at Disney Hollywood Studios. I love the dun 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 dun. I love it. It's so awesome when it comes in Star Tours when Vader shows up, and
Absolutely.
I just love it. It
absolutely
Hollywood
is.
Studios so well.
Well, and I mean, how are you going to compare Nowhere in Particular to John Williams'
Exactly.
score? I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's why I said it's kind of like the opposite again. So, okay, what's your next one?
My next one, I am going to go back over to Epcot, and I'm going to say Golden Dream. Now, this is
from American Adventure.
American Adventure from the show. They've kind of ruined it for me a little bit. In the beginning, it was a shortened clip of that song. It's a beautiful song. It's about America and, dreaming your dreams and reaching for the sky and all of that kind of stuff. It's very Disney, very American, celebrating American Adventure, of course. But in recent years, since the rehab, since 9/11 when they redid it, they have more than doubled the song, more than doubled the video that goes with it, to the point where you're just like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, but it tugs your heartstrings.
It
so
absolutely
hard.
did. But the original one did more, because I feel like now they're trying too hard.
Yeah.
And in the beginning, they're just trying to cram in everyone who was ever important in America.
I mean, they brought in a lot of more modern people, too,
Yes,
that
which
need
I agree.
the recognition. So,
Absolutely.
And deserve the recognition. But
And there's
it's
some
almost
great
like
ones in there. Oh
it's
my
almost
gosh.
like the bubble scene in Fantasmic,
Yes.
at Hollywood Studios is about 4 times as long as that same scene at Disneyland. So.
Right, where they're just throwing in literally every character you've ever heard of.
Yeah.
That's exactly how it feels. So for me, the original is still the one that I choose, but it's a beautiful song.
The last one's a little bit controversial on my list, and that's Everybody Has a Laughin' Place from Splash Mountain. It's controversial because it's gone. I miss Mr. Splash.
Hey,
I love that ride.
While we're on the topic, my last one is How Do You Do?
Oh, there you go. Okay.
So we hit the whole Splash Mountain thing.
Yeah,
so,
we're both sorry to see Splash close, but we're both very excited to see Tiana and her friends come in.
So excited.
Yeah.
The fact that they're putting Tiana in New Orleans Square at Disneyland is just beyond perfect. And the fact that this means that maybe we'll finally get beignets at Magic Kingdom.
We can only hope.
Is also perfect.
It is odd that they're putting a bayou next to Monument Valley.
Yeah, and is it still a mountain?
That's a good point.
Splash
that's
Mountain
right.
is not going to be called Splash Mountain anymore. Is it part of the mountain range?
The Mountain
We don't
Challenge,
know.
that's right. I'm sure it still is. It's still a mountain. It's just, it's going to be
But it's a bayou.
inhabited by new folks.
Okay, so we've done our top 7s. As you may have noticed, Small World did not make either one of our lists.
There's a bunch of Sherman Brothers songs that we talked about. One is really missing, and that's the most iconic one. And it didn't make our top 7, but we need to talk about it.
We really do.
It's the literal elephant in the room. I love the elephants. Actually, it's the drunk hippopotamus I really love, but it's a Small World.
Yeah, so it gets kind of a bad rap because it is so repetitive. It is like the world's most well-known earworm.
It's a small world after all.
No, anything but that.
But it really is worth talking about because it is a beautiful, beautiful song, and people overlook the lyrics because they find the melody so annoying. The melody is simple. It's made for children. It was sponsored by Mattel for a long time. Like, it's made for kids. So if you go in with a child's heart and a child's eyes and listen to the beautiful, beautiful lyrics about there being one world and one sun, it's a gorgeous song. So it deserves some love.
Yeah, so it kind of gets an honorable mention from both Sue and I for this.
Yes, agreed. Oh, goodness. So these are our top 7 with several honorable mentions. We would love to know what yours are. As always, we just love Disney music so much. It just is part of our life's blood. So we'd love to know what your favorite attraction songs are, and fill us in the comments.
Before we go, I'd like to give a big shout out to our friend Andy Apodaca at the Palm Springs Linguist for his support and advice in getting this podcast off the ground. You can find Andy's Disney and language-based blog on YouTube. The Epcotian Adventure is a $1,000 brunch production. A big thanks to our social media coordinator, Riley Piper, audio engineers Joey Humphrey and Paul Trett, and logo designer Evan Piper. Our music is by Jason Patrick Rowan and is licensed through Pond 5.
And please don't forget to like, subscribe, rate, and review. It helps people find us.
Thanks for joining us today for episode 20 of the Epcotian Adventure. I'm Rod.
And I'm Sue.
And we'll see you in line.
Bye.
Welcome to the Epcotian Adventure.
I'm sorry. Was that my cue?
That was your cue. Yeah, hold on. All right. We'll start over. After these messages, we'll be right back.
What noise was that? That wasn't even a word. That's not even a word.
You're just making it worse.
Oh my gosh.